The economy is showing more encouraging signs. The recovery is on the right track. Stocks will open at another record high this morning, boosted by good news from the housing market. A new survey found homes were selling in March at prices nearly 11% higher than a year ago, and the highest since 2006. After that survey came out, the Dow climbed 218 points. Then it gave about half of that back, but still closed at a record 15,409. Now, rising home and stock values have helped send consumer confidence to a 5-year high. Joining us this morning is Rick Newman, senior writer for Yahoo Finance, to explain this all to us. Rick, thanks for joining us.
Sure thing.
So, listen, we've got some good news for sure. Home prices up 11%. Tell me what that means. You know, how is that helping the economy?
That would be alarming if we hadn't just been through this huge housing bust we've been through, because 11% annual appreciation in a home price, it sounds like a bubble. But the fact is, home prices got pushed down so much that this is probably very good news that home prices are now bouncing back. This means people who lost a lot of value in their homes are getting some of that value back.
Right.
They're feeling better about their finances and things like that.
Right.
So that's one of the things that's pushing up optimism. That's why the stock market has been going up lately. People are seeing this and saying, it looks like we finally have a real recovery.
Right. And we talk about consumer confidence at a 5-year high.
Right.
Is it just the housing market, or what else is making people feel good?
It's more than the housing market. First of all, gas prices have been coming down a little bit. That has an outsized effect on how well off people feel. It's just the way it is. When you pay less to fill up your car, you feel better about it.
True.
People are noticing that the job market's getting a little bit better. It's not going gangbusters. And I think people just feel less of a sense of panic. I mean, this is psychology, so you never know exactly why this is happening. And this can flip. I mean, this can flip fairly quickly based on a couple of negative headlines. But for now, yes, people feel better, and they probably feel better for good reason.
So we look at the Dow, and the Dow closes at a record high. Everything's looking good. Once again, I've asked you this question every time you come, the average person, the average investor.
Who doesn't have $50,000 worth of stocks and things like that.
Precisely. What does that mean for them? What should they be doing?
They should probably just be doing all the sensible things that they know to do, which is don't get overtaken by hype and euphoria about the stock market, because this is another thing that could turn around very quickly. I mean, the Dow has been hitting a new record almost every day, it seems. This is happening in an economy that is still only growing by about 2% per year. That's a weak number. So a lot of people think the stock market has gotten ahead of the real economy. The reason I think that's happening is because people think a year from now we really are going to be seeing the economy take off, but they may not be right about that. So there's a lot of air, let's say, in the stock market at this point. A lot of analysts on Wall Street are saying we're expecting a pullback, 5% down in the Dow, maybe 10%. It keeps not happening.
Okay. But
the more those stocks go up, the greater the chance that when they do come back, it might be a little bit startling. So steady as she goes, I think, is the message for ordinary people.
You talked about maybe, you know, the Wall Street's getting ahead of Main Street, so to speak. Is that why, though, you know, jobs are looking good, we still have a lot of people who are unemployed? We have, you know, grads coming out of school who can't find a job. Is that, you know, part of the reason?
We have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is reality on the street, not Wall Street necessarily, but Main Street. This is the reality, and this is why people need to just kind of look around them and say, does all this euphoria I'm hearing about with the stock market, housing market suddenly, who thought the housing market would be going gangbusters at this point? We haven't heard about that for 5 years. Does this make sense based on what I see going on around me? I think in a lot of cases it doesn't. So jobs are still hard to get. People are not really getting raises. As you just mentioned, college grads have a tough time. Unemployment is still 7.5%. So, and a lot of what is pushing up the stock market and stuff is the Federal Reserve with these policies that are meant to do exactly what's happening. So no one is really sure, is this a real recovery? Is it kind of an artificial recovery?
Right.
Which means you know, the kindling could come crumbling down at some point. I don't think we're going to have another recession. Nobody's really talking about that. But you just need to be careful about what's happening out there. And some of these things that are making people optimistic could turn around shortly.
Right.
So that could happen for 3, 4, 5 months. A lot of economists are saying, you know, things could soften up for the rest of 2013. 2014 looks better. But this is a very odd market we've got in all these things right now. I think that's the best way
to sum it up.
And when there's no dramatic news about the economy, everyone stops talking about the Federal Reserve policies. Will they or won't they change the stock market? I think that'll be the sign that things are really getting back to normal.
I think you're right. Rick Newman, senior writer for Yahoo Finance. Thanks for joining us.
Sure thing.
Now, Rick is also the author of Rebounders: How Winners Pivot from Setback to Success.